All right, let's do we do the pledge?
We do.
All right, let's stand.
Okay.
I can't.
I'll
What?
stand.
Can't stand.
I'm in the kitty cubby.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
Indivisible.
with liberty and justice for all.
Well, that sounded pathetic.
Oh, that was good.
All right, I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Romeo Downtown Development Authority for Monday, May 4th, 2020 at 7 p.m. Lisa, will you give us a roll call?
They will. Parker?
I thought Bill was on. Is he not on?
I don't see Bill.
Parker? Okay, Brandt?
Here.
Seidel?
Here.
Stevens?
Here.
Tar?
Present.
Oh, there's Bill.
Bill?
Yep.
There.
he is.
Poznansky?
Here.
Humphreys?
She's muted.
Oh, sorry.
Hang on. Unmute. You got me now?
Yep, got you now.
We're good.
Mel's on?
Here.
Parker? Is he back?
I could see him.
I can see him. Yeah.
Is he muted?
Carly, can you make it where you can see several people at a time or no?
Oh, somebody's getting help from a grandkid.
Hang on.
I tried to do it on my laptop, and evidently I don't have a camera on my laptop.
Unmute Bill.
There we go.
There you go.
Now he's got the audio on, so he's good. Yep.
Okay, he's here?
Bill, are you here?
Yes.
Okay. Hayes?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Perfect.
Good
Hey,
work.
Bill, I brought my dogs to this meeting, too.
You got mine too.
Oh, wait, there we go.
All right, first up on the agenda, we have public forum, which I don't think we have anybody, do we?
I don't see anybody logged on right now, so just us participants. I have 11.
All right, and next up then, we need an approval of the agenda, which you all should have received a copy, but it's also right in front of you. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Should we add the stimulus for discussion under new business?
Either that or it can just be in Lisa's director's report, whichever's.
I kind of provided that just for you guys to look at.
Well, I figured if we need to do something, we need to act on it.
It's up to you if you want to make a motion to add it to the under new business.
I would like to do that.
Okay.
We also need to add the meeting schedule approvals. So if you could just add, the meeting schedule technically is under unfinished, but however you want to add it. We can.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll put under unfinished business for A, we'll say that's going to be the update to the meeting dates.
Mhm.
And then we'll have under new business a third line for discussion on the stimulus.
Okay. All right.
Somebody make a motion to
That's not going to
approve.
be in your packet, but it will be in your email from earlier today.
Okay,
A motion to approve the agenda with these additions.
I'll support.
Motion
need
by Poznansky, second by President Malzahn. We're going to have to do everything as a roll for the voting since we're doing it this way. So, Lisa, if you could call roll.
Yes, I will. Poznansky,
Yes.
Malzahn,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Humphreys,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Seidel,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Tar,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. All right. Next, we need an approval of the minutes from the February 3rd regular meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes as written.
Motion by Poznanski. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Second by Brandt. Lisa, can you do a roll?
Poznanski,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Seidel,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Tar,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Malzahn,
Yes.
Humphreys.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Lisa.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Under the board comments on the last minutes that we did, almost to the bottom, it said something about Christine was going to check about crossings, bicycle crossings. Did anything happen with that?
I actually checked in. I have our engineering firm from the Village of Romeo, Hubble, Roth, and Clark writing a grant as part of that mid-block crossing, pedestrian bike crossings. So I don't have any updates, but I believe that grant was needed to be submitted by the end of May. So
Okay,
that's where
I'm
we're at.
curious.
Mhm.
And do you have the new date for St. Baldrick's?
Tentatively, I think that they were looking at September 28th, but I don't know that for certain.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Carol, we'll stick with you for the treasurer's report.
Okay, this is basically we spent $23 on a credit card back in February and $62.48 for the telephone bill. We sent a $50 deposit to Chamberlain Farms for Harvest Day for the pony rides and the animal zoo, little zoo. And then I gave the first half of the flower deposit, $8,390. And we did receive some delinquent taxes from the village for $2,751.74. And then payroll, we did one check in January, well, in December for January for Lisa, and two checks in February for Lisa, none in March, none in April. And the total bill is $1,278.15, including taxes due. So the spending for this time period is, since the February meeting till now, is $9,804.36. Do you understand? I took out the transfers because all I did was move money from one account to the other. But I didn't want to confuse anybody.
Is that different than the one I have on the screen right now? Because I have it from today at 10:49, and that's different. This says $9,930.11.
Oh, did I pull the wrong one? I'm sorry.
I can only
Oh,
see
yeah,
the agenda
it's-
right now
yeah,
on your screen,
It is
Christine.
different, you know
Yeah.
what?
Oh,
Because,
okay.
because I forgot to put the phone bill and the credit card bill that I just paid.
Okay.
And I paid them by phone.
Yeah, you probably got to do a shared screen or something, Christine, because that's
Yeah, I
how I
think-
see too.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, 9930.11. You're right. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, and the money that was spent on the credit card was for that meeting in January for the at Main Street. And then the 197, oh, that was a telephone bill. That was 3 months. The $309 credit card was for
Inc.
Salvation Army. We bought clothes for the scarecrows.
Are you guys seeing that PDF now that I have up on my screen, or do you still see the agenda?
No, I see the PDF.
See
Okay.
the PDF, but I think this is the profit and loss.
That's the budget.
Right.
Yeah.
So we need the transactions by account. I think that's what we're still talking about, right?
Right, on May 1st, not April 30th. I had the wrong one.
How are we handling the any money that we're sending out for Harvest Day right now?
I'm just putting it into the expense account.
Well, I mean, should we be sending out money for deposits on,
Well,
are these
but we did-
non-refundable deposits?
Well, we're going to have harvest days, right?
I mean,
don't know.
It's an outdoor activity, so it should be able to keep our 6-foot distance.
I don't know. They've canceled every event.
I would feel if they canceled Peach Fest that we should also cancel.
Did they cancel Peach Fest?
I don't think they've made a
That
decision.
I know of, but I'm saying if they do, I think we should
Okay.
follow suit.
Yeah,
Well,
that
It's
would,
being discussed, but I guess my
What's
point
your
in that is
business?
saying, should we be sending out checks at this time if there's so much uncertainty?
Well, we have to, otherwise we'd lose the spot. We did it in February before all this hit.
Yeah.
So, Lisa, do you think that Chamberlain would be receptive?
I don't think we'll have a problem with them. I mean, we sent them the $50 deposit. I don't think they'll have a problem if we have to cancel. I don't foresee it. I can call her tomorrow and,
well, a $50 deposit's way better than a $5,000 deposit.
right. We
Right.
haven't, this is the only deposit we've paid for Harvest Days.
Oh, okay.
And,
Then we bought some clothes for Scarecrow, but we could keep those.
but Carol, that wasn't the 309. That 309 was ink for the printer.
Oh, okay, yeah, the Staples bill.
The $21.13 was the close for Harvest Days.
You're right. I apologize.
That's okay.
I can't see one line to the other.
Okay.
I wrote it in there, but I didn't see what it was. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Do
Okay.
we have a motion to pay the bills?
Motion to pay the bills as presented. The 9,000, I don't see the correct number right now.
9930.11.
Yes, that.
Got a motion to approve by Poznanski. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Seidel. Lisa, can you do a roll?
Poznanski,
Yes.
Seidel,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Tar,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Malzahn,
Yes.
Humphreys,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
And then I'll do the rest of mine in the budget.
All right. So that is the treasurer's report. Next up, we have Lisa Hall with the DDA director report. Not in the packet, but it is in your email. Christine, I think if you could pull that up.
Yep. Let me see if I can.
I apologize for that too. I printed it and I don't know we had a baby come this week, so my brain wasn't really where it was supposed to be. Thank you. Thank you. So of course I did all of the regular stuff as normal. Well, for February anyway.
Is that show, by the way, right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We did have talked to Tim about the benches a few times, and as you can see, they are in. I think they look really good.
They do.
They do. Yep.
I spoke with Amy back in February, and she said that we were getting spring banners made. She just didn't know at that time when they were going to be completed.
They're being installed tomorrow.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
Weather permitting.
We
That's
haven't
good.
received a funding request for that, have we?
No.
No, we
No,
have not.
The court did it differently this time. Amy worked with Jennifer Andery and their sponsors, and they pretty much paid for this batch.
Right?
Oh, nice. That's very nice.
We're also going to have a whole batch, one for all the graduates that'll be hung up the first week of June. So they have some sponsorship dollars, so we're in the process of getting those completed. There'll be 2 kids per side, a front and back, so 4 kids per banner to accommodate the 420 total. But so these spring ones will just hang for about 4 weeks until the graduates go up.
Very nice. Very
And
nice.
then how long will the graduates stay up?
Until the next event, so who knows?
That's Peach Fest or Harvest Day or Christmas.
Right. It could be Christmas at this point, yes.
Yeah.
No.
But okay, I didn't mean to interrupt, Lisa. Go ahead.
That's okay. That's okay. Not a problem. I think we kind of talked a little bit our last meeting in February. I did talk to the DDA in Rochester about their Christmas lights, and I did quite a bit of stuff with that. But I mean, obviously, I've kind of just put that on the back burner and haven't done much of anything else with that. But that kind of explains what I did there. I did do an email to Marcel again. Requested Tom and Greg's, for them to give them the email. Asked him to fix Randy and Megan's emails, and it doesn't seem that those are fixed yet. I know Randy said he's still having problems with his. I do have to contact him again. You and I talked, Christine, about the St. Baldrick's banners. I requested the check for Ray, and the check for Ray. He has sent me pictures of the flowers, and they're really pretty. And of course, weather permitting, he will install them by the end of May per the contract that we have. We did have a Christmas light subcommittee meeting in February, but again, we're kind of on hold. So, and then I did look for the Romeo documents for the blueprint documents for the master plan update. Provided those to Steve. In March, received and filed the email, delivered the bills to Carol, did the updates to the website. I've talked with Joanne a couple times about the farmer's market. Last time I talked to her, it was kind of still up in the air. I don't know how you guys feel about the farmer's market. Rochester is running there. Mount Clemens is running there. I haven't been able to get a hold of her the last couple of days to see how many vendors she has. So I'm not sure what you want to do with that, if you want to let her have it, or do we want to say no for this year, or what do we want to do?
Kelly, can you shed any light on, are you guys still doing anything with the farmer's market, or?
I just had several conversations with Joanne, her planning, but that was back in February. I haven't talked to her since all this has happened.
Yeah.
I talked to her once, but this was before, I want to say this was right after the executive order, and I haven't really talked to her since. I was going to try, and that's when I was kind of trying to reach out, but now that we're, then when I talked to her, nobody anticipated that it would be May, that the executive order would be extended to. So I've got to try and call her again and see where she's at. I don't know what to tell her. I don't know to tell her, yes, you can do it, or no, you should wait. I'm not sure.
I mean, personally, I think we should, with so much uncertainty, if somebody else wants to be the one responsible for it, because I don't think it's something that's going to really get moving this summer, considering how late it is. Why even keep it on our budget for this year, and why even, go back and forth with that will we or won't we discussion.
My question there is all right, so she has quite a few vendors. Do we allow, because she may have vendors lined up, but then again, with it being the way that it is, some of those vendors may back out. So I don't know.
Yeah,
my take on it was she did not have that many vendors committed to her.
Okay.
My opinion is, for what it's worth, is that I think we need to mandate a minimum number of vendors present, a quorum, if you want to say. There has to be a minimum, 3, 4, 5, whatever you think is acceptable. But just having one person out in the park and calling it a farmer's market I don't think makes for a farmer's market. So I think that if we're going to do it, we should do it and have somebody who can actively recruit and, make a stipend or a small, amount to offset her own personal rent. But I just don't think that we should be promoting a one-person show.
No, I agree.
I agree too.
I agree too.
Okay.
This is also the year that if you want to put something on hold, we've got the built-in excuse for doing it. So no one's going to look at you sideways for doing it. So, I mean, if we have reservations,
Could we
Put it on hold.
postpone it till June 1st to get a feel better from Joanne to see if she's got people that are willing to participate in June?
Do you want me to call her tomorrow? I can call her tomorrow.
I mean, I think as long as the governor removes the stay-at-home restriction and still makes allowances for restaurants, in food sales to go curbside, pickup, I think that certainly falls within a reasonable social distancing that can happen in the park. So I don't know that we need to cancel it for fear of, the pandemic. But I certainly think that we should look to make sure that it's worthwhile to bring people to the park and make sure that they have, enough vendors to make it seem like it's a farmer's market.
What is your minimum number that you would like her to know?
Say 4 or 5?
My thought was 3 to 5.
5? Okay.
You're kidding.
but that's even really low.
That seems awfully low.
I mean,
She's
I
never
agree,
minimum.
I think
She's
you have to
never
start
had more than
somewhere.
3.
Right.
Yeah, it is, I would say it's low, but we got to remember we're starting over from scratch again.
Right.
Right, and your spring is just not a whole lot coming up in the spring. You've got some of your lettuces and stuff like that, but the bulk of the produce is not going to come in until later in the summer.
Yeah, but to Megan's point, we're starting from scratch, but I don't want to start from scratch from the exact same point that we started. Hopefully we got some lessons learned on what we did wrong at the last time where we had 1, 2, or 3 vendors tops.
I mean, I have to say that she was there every week. Come freezing cold, rain. I mean, she was there. She was committed, and I applaud her effort. I
That's
just
cool.
think that as the organizer, we should be able to put in some sort of mandates that if they say they're coming and they don't show, then underneath this number, they have to just cancel.
What was attendance like last year?
It wasn't, because there was just one person with a table in the middle of the park.
So that was it. They're just, she was there and
Yes.
maybe a couple people.
She had music. She herself, and she had music. But
Yes, there was somebody like playing a guitar
Yeah.
up in the gazebo. I think a couple of times I may have seen one additional tent. I don't know who that was, but for the most part, it was just her. So
Is that the person you want running your farmers market? Is somebody was she responsible for bringing in other vendors, or she just couldn't drum up interest?
That's a
she
good
was
point.
the one that had all the contacts for the other vendors. So she said she, through the winter, was being in contact with them. But like I said, I haven't talked to her since February.
okay.
All right, so yeah, touch base with her and see where her head's at for this year. But I just think with how quick it's coming up, I don't think we should be putting a lot of energy on our board to help with that or facilitate it. If she wants to take it on, go for it. But I don't think there's a lot we can do on our end to help if it's just holding a couple other vendors out there.
I don't know that it took a lot of work on the DDA's end. I mean, I
No,
guess
we
I
only
did on
did a
the
little bit of
setup,
money.
but aside from securing the dates with the village hall,
Right. That was all I needed to do. And then contact her and let her know if it was a go or not. And I haven't made that call because I didn't want to make that call until I talked to all of you.
And I saw her every week because the chamber has the signage. So we put it out for her to pick up, and I retrieve it after.
mhm. So yeah, I mean,
I
Kelly.
get- Christine?
Yeah.
Greg
ahead,
here,
Greg.
real fast.
Yeah, just listen to this from the outside and kind of new to the idea of this. Just tell you, if the DDA is putting their name on something and there's 1 or 3 vendors there for something like that, I'm just saying I don't support that. I think she's got to be able to round up the people that want to do it. And either it's a go or a no go. But we got to do quality stuff, and that just doesn't sound quality to me. A couple people in the park with a table. Just my comment.
I agree with you, Greg.
Okay.
So what kind of number do we want to put there? 10?
10's to go from 1 to 10's a lot. I mean, I think Christine, when she said 5, I feel like that's a nice little farmer's market, and if it grows from there, great. But if she can't drum up 5, then there's no point in doing it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, 5's just, to Megan's point, we're starting over. If we get 5 going, that's pretty good.
Yeah, 10 would be like more of our end game. Even in the past, when it was really booming, 10 was exciting.
So we're agreeing on 5?
And I'm wondering if we could put something that with anything less than a 24 or 48-hour notice, you still have to pay for your spot. Maybe something like that.
The problem is, how do you know the public, notify the public that it's canceled? You hate to have somebody drive over here and then there's nothing going on.
I do believe
they have to sign a contract under her, correct? So they're agreeing to come X amount of weeks for whatever those dates are spelled out under her contract. So I think that, that should be the commitment right there. And they should pay up front. If they don't show, well, then at least, we have some sort of revenue stream, and we know not to, work with that partner for the next season.
Well, let's agree on 5. Let's have Kelly reach out to her and find out where she's at, and then see if she balks at 5, then I guess that answers our question. If she says no problem, that kind of answers our question.
Well, I'm looking. Okay, so thank goodness for tech. So she did create a Facebook page, and
what's it called?
It's called Romeo Village Farmers Market.
Okay.
She did create a Facebook page. She updated it April 4th. And she is right. Farmers markets are considered essential businesses. So I guess, do we, Kelly, call her and tell her she needs at least 5 people? Looks like she's got a couple that are coming.
Well, if we give her incentive to find more, it might help too.
Right. So I see 2.
As long as the Facebook didn't say farmer market.
No, it says Romeo Village Farmers Market is what
Did she post a date of when they anticipated opening?
Not sure why. I'm still looking here, so I believe she said May 30th is what I want to say. Last Saturday in May.
Which is Memorial Day weekend.
No,
Right.
So,
no, the weekend before is Memorial Day.
Memorial Day.
I know she was planning on doing something with Parks and Recreation, but obviously they're not there anymore. So,
I see a group for the farmers market, but I don't see a page. Is it a page?
it's a page. It's called Romeo Village Farmers Market. Well, maybe it is a group.
Yeah, it looks like it's a group.
Yep, it's a group.
Can we make it a page instead of a group?
We'd have to contact her, wouldn't we?
Or an open group?
Well, you'd have to find out who the administrator is.
I'm assuming.
It's Joanne.
She hasn't posted anything in a month.
Right. She hasn't posted anything since April. So, yeah.
So a lot's changed in a month. So it would be good for Kelly to reach out to her.
Well,
Yeah, let's do
The
that.
problem is she is not very computer savvy either. She has no idea. And she has to go to a library to get online.
Well.
That's frustrating.
So she's not
Answer
online.
that question.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's touch base with her and get an update and see, because she may not, who knows? She hasn't posted in a month, and if she hasn't talked to people and there's resistance, she might not even be interested in.
Or be able to get 5 vendors either.
Right.
Right.
Well, since my suggestion is, I know we didn't add this to the agenda, but since we do not know if we'll have our DDA meeting in June, pending on what we want to do with the scheduled meetings, I'm going to make a motion that we allow her to submit a list of dates to either Lisa or Kelly, whoever wants to coordinate that with the village offices, and mandating that she have at least 5 participants, and that she could have the start date of the 30th, if that's the calendar, that as long as the executive order allows.
That's fine.
I believe the
Motion.
executive
We have a
order covers farmers markets. Mount Clemens opened this past weekend. Rochester's is opening.
But she has to have a plan in place
Oh, I
for
know.
proper social
Right.
distancing, for masks, for while they want to, stand, make sure everybody's 6 feet apart, for, cleaning and sanitizing. And if so, she doesn't have any of that. If she's not prepared to understand
Right.
what the regulations are, then we should just pull the plug.
Okay.
But time isn't our friend. So I'm going to say if she can meet all those requirements, then, with board approval, we would allow her to work through us instead of having to call a special meeting to grant her permission.
Okay.
And what was the date on that?
Well, if she put May 30th, then we could go with May 30th.
Okay.
That's, yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
No. Yeah, that's Saturday, May 30th. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Christine.
Saturday after Memorial Day weekend. All right, so we have a motion by President Malzahn. Do we have a second?
Sure.
Who was that? Was that you, Carol?
Yes.
Second by Humphreys, to make those requirements for the farmer's market. Lisa, will you please do a roll?
Yep. Hang on one second. President Malzahn,
Yes.
Humphreys,
Yes.
Tar,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Poznanski,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Seidel,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Lisa, did you want to continue with your director report?
I think, you know what, it's all typed out there. I mean,
Okay.
I feel kind of like I'm reading a PowerPoint slide.
Sure.
So, and it's all there. The only thing I say is about the farmer's market is I did submit the application for the dates to Catherine. All of the dates that Joanne did want. So Catherine should have that. It's just, maybe Kelly, if you could, I can reach out to her too. It's up to you, Kelly.
We haven't put on village council's agenda any special event permits. And there
Okay.
have been some inquiries just because we didn't know what our latitude was to rescind them under this,
Okay.
state of emergency. So we just, and of course, a lot of them expired and the events never happened because they
Right.
couldn't. So
Right. Okay. Well, those, like I said, Catherine does have the dates that Joanne wanted, but she may want to alter them at this point in time. So,
Okay.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Thanks, Lisa. Next up.
Lisa, I got one quick question. On your
Yes.
third page of your report, you have a little note here, call from Grace about bench in front of Starkweather. What is that about?
Grace does not like the bench in front of Starkweather. We had told her that we were considering one there. She doesn't like it there because apparently they don't like the cigarette butts. They say the comments are is that the patrons of the bar, when they come out of the bar at night, they don't like to go downstairs to the restroom. So they find that it's not very pleasant, in the alleyway or sometimes right in front of Starkweather, and they just feel that the bench will cause them to have to clean up more messes than they already do. And I advised Grace, I said, well, if you find that you are, let me know. And you know, I mean, we won't know until people start coming out of the bar at night with the bench there if it's going to cause any more problems or not. But that's what they don't like about it. They say that they'll have cigarette butts and other things there that they don't want there.
And she had mentioned that before. She did express those concerns before, but at the same time, you know, they've got that nice, beautiful clock down by Starkweather, and people want to sit by it. So I mean, we've got to be strategic about where we place those. But I get it.
Yep. So do I. But that was all she was. That was what she had to say.
Okay.
I got one more question. I'm just full of questions today. Megan, on the scavenger hunt, when are you going to start that, or have you already started it?
We did start it. I started it, this is going on 6 weeks ago. Close to when quarantine started, so that it would give people something to do.
Oh, so you're holding outside?
Yeah, it's things in front of people's houses or a piece of architecture on their house.
Oh, it's always been, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
something from the sidewalk. You just walk around from the sidewalk and
Oh,
find
okay.
the, yeah.
Okay.
There'll just be a lot more people outside looking at stuff now.
Right.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm secluded in my home, so I don't see nothing. So.
All right, so no funding requests, no committee reports. We added under unfinished business, review of the meeting date for the rest of the year. So apparently we can't just not hold a meeting because there's nothing on the agenda to discuss. We would still have to formally hold that meeting. So how do we want to go about moving forward with our meetings from here on out? Do we want to keep doing it this way and just keep things as scheduled until?
Well, let me just clarify that. Let me just clarify that ruling, because what legal counsel told me for village council, we adopt in the beginning of the year a meeting schedule. We publish it, we post it in the window, and the DDA does the same. Since village council and DDA approve that meeting schedule, it's up to them collaboratively to vote to cancel the meeting. So the meeting cancellation just can't be arbitrarily by you or Lisa. It requires a board vote.
So how would we go about making that vote?
Well, we can unilaterally make a motion to allow you to cancel the meeting if there's no agenda items by a board vote.
Text? Can you do it through a text or an email?
No, what she's saying is if we have a motion, and I would make a motion that Zach can cancel the meeting if there are no scheduled items. Then if somebody seconds it and we vote on it, then Zach can do that. That's what Christine was saying.
I'll second it.
Right, because we just don't have a policy in place that allows for the cancellation of the previously scheduled 12 months meeting. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Makes
Okay.
total sense.
Yep.
So I seconded Bill's motion.
So we have a motion by Parker, second by Seidel, to allow the chair of the board to cancel the meeting if there are no agenda items. Lisa, will you do a roll?
Yep. Hang on one second. Parker,
Yes.
Seidel,
Yes.
Malzahn,
Yes?
Poznanski,
Yes.
Humphries,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Tar,
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I mean, to that end, there should never necessarily be a reason to cancel the agenda, because we always have the approval of the minutes and approval of the month's bills.
Well, should it read as at discretion?
Yes, I'm just saying that there should probably always technically be business if somebody wanted to bring that up. So use your discretion and use it wisely, whether or not we actually need to have a meeting is all I'm suggesting.
Should that be in the wording at the DDA director's discretion?
It wasn't my motion. I just wanted to point that out, that if somebody wanted to say, well, what do you mean there's no agenda items? Technically, there always is, because that's what we have.
Gee, Randy, didn't you hear me say discretion?
I did, Bill. That's why I agreed with you.
Right, that's what I thought.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. Next up under new business, we have the 2021 annual budget that we need to go through and approve. Carol, I'll kind of let you take the lead on this.
Okay, well, I wasn't able to get a hold of the two treasurers for the township. So what I did was I printed out to you the last 3 years' budgets that we went through and were approved by the village, and to kind of give us an idea of where we were at. And then the other thing I just sent in yesterday is our July 19th through June 20th expenditures, where it's budget versus actual. That has our budget there, and it also shows you how much we've spent of our budget or anticipate spending by the end of June. So if you have any questions, I think we need to probably go by it line by line to see if we want to make adjustments to it. And one will be the, will tie into our next agenda item, which is the revenue sharing. So if you want to use that one there, Zach, and go by item.
Is this the correct one that's on the screen?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Sure.
The other thing is if we can go line by line, because I anticipate that the money will be the same this year. I don't think any property values went down as of December of last year. So our money should be pretty close to what it is this year. And next year, that may be a different issue, but I don't think that the pandemic has created a real estate problem yet.
Don't we get money from the state, though?
Yeah, this year we got, let me go, that's on page 3, and we got 11,000. I allowed in the budget 5,500, and we actually got 11,500. But I'm not sure their criteria this year, so I wouldn't go more than the 5,500 and just glad to get extra.
Okay, then you're taking into account. The popular news media say that the state has a $3 billion hole in their budget, and they simply have to do something.
Just in case they wipe it out.
They have a $3 billion. Right now they have a $3 billion hole in their budget.
Yeah. So.
And it's like Wayne Westland today announced that they were furloughing every non-essential employee for at least a week a month, and maybe more than that. There's obviously the state's going to start slashing expenditures somewhere.
Yeah, just a note, we've gotten all of our revenue that we expected except for Washington Township. I'm still waiting on their money, which should have been here already.
They're not working right now, so.
Maybe that's why. Normally they pay in March, and that's when everything kind of went oop. So.
Bill, to answer your question, I was actually on a webinar today with the Michigan Treasury Department. They do have an over $3+ billion deficit, and they have no answers to give any of the local municipalities at this point. They're having another revenue sharing conference. Their second conference, they typically hold 2 a year on May 15th. and they're hoping to get some directives from the legislators on how to fill that gap. They have a 1.2 million rainy day, or $1.2 billion rainy day fund that they can use. Obviously, that's still not going to cover it. So what they have to assess is what the constitutional sales tax and the statutory sales tax reimbursements will be. Those coupled with the schools taking a cut, they don't anticipating cutting public service, but you never know what the governor's going to say. Out of their $58 or $59 million budget, everything pretty much hangs on what is the state going to do, because they're adopting the budget. Unfortunately, our fiscal year runs, the same June to July, July to June. And all we can do is make our best guess, be conservative, and have an alternative course of action just planned, so that if the revenues don't show up, we have, somewhere to either cut or borrow money from to tide us over. That's what they're saying.
Well, then
So
we can cut it and still be safe.
Well, and to this point, Megan brought it up at the last village council meeting. We still have a duty to draft a budget.
So,
Just because the budget is drafted doesn't mean we're obligated to spend those funds. At some point, you have to look at and you have to prioritize. We certainly have an obligation and a legal responsibility to get a budget approved and submit it to village council for adoption. But again, it doesn't mandate that any of these expenditures, give or take a few, have to be actually spent. So
with so many,
by looking at the budget that we did for the last fiscal, the one we're currently in, we didn't even do a third of what we anticipated our budget to be. Of course, we never maxed it out anyway, but we only spent $80,000 and on a $280,000 budget.
so look, this is, I don't think there's going to be anyone arguing about this. Is all just a tentative, but we have to have a budget out there. Why can't we adopt or send this budget as it's been presented to the village council as our budget? And we understand that if we need to cut it in the future, we'll do that when we find out actually what the numbers are going to be.
and I agree totally with Bill.
Well, the only thing I have to say different than that is in our current budget, we show $90,000 going back to the village, and we should reduce that down to 45 and put the other 45 in the brick
What
and
makes you
mortar.
think the village is going to agree to the 45?
That's what they're asking for.
They're asking
That's
for
what-
40?
that's what I'm proposing. It has not been adopted by village council yet. So let's just be clear about that. When we
Okay.
talked our goals and objectives at the village council level, I said that this was a priority of mine. And then I drafted the revenue sharing agreement that you have before you. But the second part of that is a revenue sharing agreement that we have to put before village council, because both boards have to agree to the same thing. So.
Right. That's why I thought if we could put 45 in there, we could always change it. Well, either way.
Exactly.
So
So-
you guys want to just stay with this same as last year? Or is there something we want to make an adjustment for at all in our spendings?
So with the $45,000 that's in question, if we make it the same as last year, are there any problems with adjusting it going forward? I mean, if the council agrees to pass that, or what's the better way to do it? Put the 45 in now or wait and see what happens? I don't know. I just think we can't spend much time on this with so many unknowns out there. If we start getting down to the dollars, we're wasting a lot of time, like literally the single dollars.
Right, I agree. And so if you can balance the budget, if you can show a balanced budget with 100% revenue sharing, that's what you submit to village council. And then we'll vote on the actual revenue sharing agreement if you want to have Zach execute it and send a letter of agreement accompanying that to council level for consideration. I think that's the appropriate action. It may ultimately change your budget. It comes back to you for ratification anyway after village council holds its public hearing on the entire budget. Of yours is a part of that.
Sounds good.
Okay. I agree.
So if Christine would make a motion on this, then we can get it seconded and adopted, and we're done with it.
I have to abstain from this.
I'll make the
Okay.
motion.
Sorry.
So does Megan have to abstain then? And Randy?
And does Randy have to abstain?
Yes, because
Well, then-
ultimately we have to vote on it at council level.
That narrows it
Okay.
down to Carl and Bill and
Okay,
Bill, you do it.
We're making a motion to adopt the budget as presented, period.
For this current fiscal year will be the same in the future fiscal year.
That's correct.
1920 will be the same as, or 2021 will be the same as 1920.
That's what I said.
I thought so.
We're also sending and agreeing to send this request for revenue sharing to the council.
Let's do that separate if you don't mind,
Okay,
Bill.
that's fine, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, then I withdraw that portion of it. We're just gonna accept the budget as presented, which is the same as the 19/20. The 20/21 will be the same, period.
Can't you just
The
say
same.
same stuff, different year?
Yes.
Motion by Parker. Do we have a
Carol, we need a second.
I'll second it.
I'll second.
second by Brandt? Lisa, will you do a
Can we-
roll?
Is there some discussion here?
Yeah, no, we can discuss before it goes to vote.
Yeah, so real fast, if one person wants to try to answer this for me because of the format we're in, this is Greg, by the way. For the new guy, explain to me real fast the giving back to the village of 45,000, if I'm tracking it properly. Give me the high net of this? Why this and why this amount, and what do
It's
they do
90.
with it?
It's 90,000.
Okay, go ahead then.
This is
So
a
we're
result of it. The village council has the right to approve our budget, period. If they don't approve it, we don't have a budget, we don't operate. As a result of the lawsuit some years ago, we've agreed to give them the money back, and they then approve our budget, period, end of statement. They also give us $11,000 a year as part of that settlement. It's a long story. Greg, you ought to talk to Christine or Carol when you have an hour to kill.
I have a question. Was there
Yeah.
no end date to this giving back money from that lawsuit, or did
It
it?
ends, this
It
is the
doesn't
last
really-
year. 11/5?
The 11/5, this is the last year for it.
Yeah.
The consent judgment agreement is open-ended, and what it says is that the village council will review the consent judgment agreement annually, and it would be at their discretion. And so technically, no, there is no end date to the consent judgment agreement, which is what my goal was to, in discussions with Mark, to find another avenue of which we can officially close that and then start a more formal revenue sharing agreement, so that I thought it would be more collaborative and in a joint venture between the DDA and the village.
Because we will lose at 11.5.
Well,
Yes.
you're not losing it, it's just paid in full, right?
Yes.
Right, the 10th payment will be this year coming up.
Yes. And so then it's just been completed. It's not that you're losing it or we're taking it away, it's just done. Okay, does that answer your question, Greg?
Well, again, the format, and I apologize. I just thought I was under the impression that that the DDA had a fair amount of money that we have not requested yet back from the past. That was
No.
that was ours to get for a big project, and no one's asked for it yet.
No.
Where have I heard that over the years?
Rumor.
Oh, there was at one time, but that money was paid in full. And that's what the 11/5 was, the last of it.
Okay.
What you're thinking about is for the last 10 years, we've given back the TIF amount from the village to them to use to spend to help offset the central business district bills, I would say.
Okay.
be that what they may. It could be used for anything in the downtown district. At one point, someone had thought that money was being put into a special fund for us to use for a large project. That is a misconception. That's not true. There's no fund balance at the village end. Correct me if I'm wrong, Christine.
You're
That
correct.
says
Yeah.
this belongs to the DDA. Once we gave it back to them, it was theirs to use discretionally.
Now there has been comments so made in the past where bring us a project, meaning DDA bring the Village of Romeo project, and we'll if it's something we deem to be a possible venture that we can do together, then that was brought up in the past as well. So that may be what you're thinking of, Greg, where it's a joint project. But I think maybe this revenue sharing agreement kind of kicks that off. But that's just my thoughts.
Okay, I can circle back later on with somebody who in this group here has the most knowledge on this that I should reach out to.
Probably Christine or Carol.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
No problem.
Okay, so now we still have to do a roll on the budget.
Yes.
Okay, Bill, can you restate the motion for me so I have it correct?
That the budget is presented be adopted, that it is the same numbers that we used last year.
Okay.
I think that's what I said.
So motion by Parker, second by Brandt to approve budget as presented with 2019, 2020 numbers to the council for approval.
Now, can I ask, Christine, are you saying that council needs to abstain from budget and consent, or budget share or whatever, revenue sharing, or
Right.
just revenue sharing?
That would be my recommendation, that we would abstain on both votes because we're going to vote it on the council side. So if you'd rather vote on it on the DDA side, that's fine. Then you would recuse yourself at the council level. So that's at your discretion.
I wasn't sure if you just meant the one or the other, or not both.
I think that would be for both.
Okay.
Do we have enough people voting if the three of you abstain to pass this?
Yes, you should have.
Everyone votes the same.
You have Carol, Kelly,
Okay.
Zach. You're right. You have Carol, Kelly, Zach, Carl, Bill. You have 5.
Okay, let's go with the roll call.
Okay. And if you're going to abstain, then you can just tell me you're abstaining.
Yes.
That will help me. Parker,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Poznanski,
Abstain.
Malzahn,
Abstain.
Seidel,
Abstain.
Humphries,
Yes,
Hayes,
Yes.
I can't hardly hear.
Stevens,
Yes.
Tar.
Yes.
Yes, we passed.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right. Next up, we have the 2020-2021 revenue sharing agreement with the Village of Romeo. Pulled up right in front of us here. Christine, do you want to?
Yeah, I just point out there's a few minor wording changes that Mark Clark made at the very last minute. So I highlighted that paragraph in yellow. It's very similar. It's just a few key words. But the idea behind this was that I wanted to officially end that consent judgment agreement that we spoke of and move into a more collaborative effort so that the DDA and the body felt like they were in more control of the TIF plan that was put in place to serve the purposes for which it was adopted and has served the village all these years. Unfortunately, the financial budget that the village is in put some restrictions on what we could do, right? We took a look at our budget. We're trying to present a balanced budget. We did a goals and objectives. And one of those items that I highlighted was to give a portion of that money back to the DDA. But since there are so many projects that needed to be done, I would like to earmark one joint project. I know that the DDA had investigated light conversions, converting the lights in town to LED for quite some time. And the Village Council also heard quite a few proposals, but it's very costly. As one option, DTE from Brandon said, look, we can come and we can convert just the fixtures in the central business district for about $67,000 or $68,000 was the total cost of the project. So when I was developing with Clerk Trapp the budget to present to Village Council, I had them put the number of $45,000 from the DDA back into our general fund that would be earmarked to jointly pay for that project with the village. So out of the $90,000 in your total capture, you would be giving $45,000 of that back to the village for use for that joint project, and then keeping the rest of it in your bank accounts for whatever projects you wanted to use. Bankroll it, pay for whatever, harvest days, whatever you would need to do. Moving forward, this agreement that Mark and I jointly drafted basically says we're going to visit this every year and we're going to earmark a project. So together, or by board, you would say, hey, we want to do whatever this year, wayfinding signage, pedestrian crossings, whatever that project is, calculate out some costs and what you think would be your fair portion for work done in the central business district. And then hopefully the Village Council would have some money in our general fund or our street fund, whatever that would be, to join you in the cost sharing of that. So that was my goal. This is what we drafted. Again, I said that this would have to be, this agreement that you see in front of you has to be authorized in by a board vote. And then council also has to agree to vote for it, because this is just my recommendation. Nothing in writing says they're going to, but when, again, just some starting point.
So you need a motion to adopt the resolution as presented and authorize Zach to sign it?
Yep.
Okay, then I make that motion.
So just to be clear, the of the 90,000, 45 is coming directly to us, and 45 will be given.
Right,
Will
so-
work with
No,
the-
that can't happen. It has to be totally given to us, and then we can give it back. Otherwise, the TIF is not paid.
There's still a
Right.
check exchange, but
Right.
instead of exchanging total amounts of the capture, right, it would only be a return of the 45,000.
So we get halfway back.
Yes.
Right. So I've
Right.
made a motion to adopt the resolution as presented and authorize Zach to sign it.
Have a motion by Parker. Do we have a second?
I have another question before we vote completely. Or go ahead and get your second, and then I have a question.
Carl?
Oh, sure, I'll second.
Second by Brandt. And
Peer
Carol,
pressure.
go ahead with
Now,
your,
my question is, do we, I don't see anything in this document, two things. I don't see anything that says it's going to be used for LED lighting. And the other thing, it doesn't say when it's payable.
Well, it doesn't have to say anything specific as far as a project, right?
It can or it can't.
But it shouldn't.
Right.
It should
that's
not.
gonna be the village board. It's ultimately their decision to what to use the 45,000 for.
Well,
Right,
the
'cause it
whole
just-
point, Christine's whole point is to get this to be collaborative so that the DDA and the board come up with a project.
It's a
that we all
starting
agree
point,
on.
guys.
Sure.
It's just, right. So the other question was what date, Carol?
Well, when would be the payable date? Because usually we get
Seems-
paid from the village and then we give them the money towards revenue sharing. And there's no language in this thing that says that will happen.
I'm sure when it comes back from the village, these things will be addressed by the village attorney in
But
infinite,
this is our
if not
resolution,
excruciating.
so
This
I
gets it
don't know if
started,
we have
Carol.
to talk about it.
Well, what's the date that we had to give the check back last year? It'd be the
Usually with
same-
it, Usually within a week, we transfer funds back. Because
I
it's
thought
got
we
to
always
clear our
just,
bank account.
literally, I thought you used to they'd hand you a check, we handed them a check.
No, it has to clear our bank first, otherwise it'll bounce.
You have to pretend we have the money for at least a week.
Yeah. I mean, I can hand checks, but they can't deposit it until
Right,
it
I mean, but
clears
that's the
out.
way it's been for years, is that they've given us a check and we've given them a check and everybody waits till the damn checks can clear.
Correct.
Well, then we don't
But
really
this
have a
doesn't
date.
say that. This says that we resolved to give them $45,000. So they could say July 1st.
Within one,
give us
okay, then
45.
let me amend it, then the authorization has to be changed to say something like within 1 week of the date of receiving the money, but we don't.
Correct.
Which
You
is
guys
what
see
Christine's
I'm
typing right now.
I was going to say,
That's
do you
what I
see what
was
I'm typing?
saying.
Yes.
Yes, we agree with what you're typing. Well, at
So
least I
I'm
do.
trying to word it right. Hope I don't screw it up. Within 7 business days of the,
Receipt
TIF
of our
payment.
TIF payment.
Right.
See, because it says everything that we received the money,
Yeah. So
but it
Bill's,
doesn't say, it says we're entitled to the money, but it doesn't say anything about when things are payable.
so this works. Maybe it'll get reworked a little bit by Mark, but the structure's there, the
It's
points
the
there.
treasurer and me that's talking. Looking out for our best interests.
I'm good.
Absolutely.
So the motion and the second still stand, so,
Yes, just the wording changes.
okay.
something like that.
Yep, looks good.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, so we
And
have
if you want me to put in there for this particular year for the LED lighting, right now it just says constructing, installing, maintaining, administering improvements,
I would say
from time to time.
no. I wouldn't
I
put
would-
anything specific.
right, I would keep it as is.
Yeah.
What if they come up with an even cheaper lighting than LED in the next week or two?
Yeah,
We can all
right.
do a happy dance.
Quite possible.
Candles.
Candles.
Okay.
Lights out at 8
Oh.
o'clock.
Lisa?
Okay. Parker,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
Seidel,
Yes.
Right at
Oh,
the
can I-
abstain, Randy.
Do I have to abstain?
Yeah, you're
believe
supposed
so.
to abstain.
Never mind the yes, abstain.
okay. Poznanski,
Abstain.
Humphreys,
Yes,
Carr,
with changes.
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Melzan,
Abstain.
Hayes,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay.
All right. Next up under new business, we have the discussion of the Raise Up Romeo gift card stimulus program. This, Christine, if you want to pull that up, this was drafted by Lisa. So Lisa, I will let you take the lead on it.
Okay. All right. So in the last few weeks, as you know, Zach, I sent you the one from Grand Rapids, and obviously Grand Rapids did a huge one. They stimulated their economy or their business by putting $200,000 back into their businesses. I used the $25,000 simply because I kind of did some cutting and pasting with this one. There is a local, not in, I want to say they're probably in Monroe County is where they're probably at. Anyway, this is what they did. So their DDA allocated $25,000 to a stimulus program to help the downtown businesses obviously hit hardest by this COVID-19. This gift card program, it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, so what happens is I have to figure out a platform for people to be able to purchase $25 gift cards. So if you sell, so with $25,000, so ultimately what happens is for every $25 sold, the DDA gives 10 more dollars, so you get a $35 gift card for the cost of $25 is what you get. If you sell 2,500, if you sell 2,500 $20 gift cards, it comes out to $25,000. All right.
That's a
selling
smoke load
those-
of gift cards.
What's that?
That's a smoke load of gift cards.
It is a lot of gift cards. However, I will tell you, the DDA that did this, okay, and they put this out there, the DDA that did this sold out 2,500 gift cards in 48 hours to stimulate the economy in one of the cities here, or one of the villages or towns or cities here in Michigan. They did it in a 48-hour time period. Like I said, I've just been trying to figure out a way to, help some of the businesses out. And you can see that there's going to be limitations on who it's going to be for. You have to be a business that was open and operating prior to the executive order. A retailer deemed non-essential and closed due to the executive order. A restaurant or food establishment that was closed or reduced due to the executive order. A personal service provider such as a hairdresser or nail tech closed due to the executive order. If you look at, and I just wanted you guys to look at this and see what you thought about it. It just seems to me that, and it doesn't have to be $25,000. It could be $10,000. But when you think about, like, if you look at where, like, I use Zach's store as an example. So a lot of times, apparently what happened in particular, in Kalamazoo, okay, there was one business that somebody purchased $125 gift cards for, all right? So in turn, the DDA put another $1,000 into that. So that business wound up getting a check for $3,500. At this point in time, I realize $3,500 is not a ton of money if you are a business owner. You have a lot of overhead. But $3,500 might pay a lot bill, might pay a portion of your rent, might pay a portion of something, might, help you pay your insurance costs for a month. This is just a thought and an idea. I don't know. I thought that this was kind of interesting. Again, you could wind up with, one business getting a huge chunk of it and other businesses not getting anything. It would be whatever people decided they wanted to spend their money on. So,
which is why I hate this idea, by the way.
I second that.
I second that.
There's just no level playing field. It's great for, the key restaurants, bars, coffee shops. I think everybody is supporting them to the best of our ability, but there are many businesses, Dr. Keyhole, Michigan Tile Insurance, Tech City. They're not gift card kind of establishments. Bailey Street Car Wash, right? I don't know.
Hey,
I don't know when the last time, Romeo Printing sold a gift card. So I just think that it's just not a level playing field for something that the DDA is supposed to be focusing on the benefit of the entire central business district.
Well, it would be tough.
We don't have anything in the budget to cover this, and it gives us a chance to study it. So why don't we just table it and look at it again next month?
Bill, you're just full of good ideas tonight.
So I've made a motion to table it.
And I would think there would need to be some kind of some way to say I own a business, so I just went and bought $5,000 worth of my own gift cards just to make my own extra money. I don't really see our people doing that, but it's possible.
Yeah, you'd have to cap it at some point too, because if you're talking $25,000, for a DDA investment, one business could potentially go buy up.
Zach, where are we going to get the $25,000?
You can, but
it's not in our budget, which we just adopted.
I think it's a good idea, Lisa. I think
I agree.
For going and finding it and presenting it to us, I think if we did go forward, it would just need to be tweaked.
Well, my thought on tweaking it would be is that you would limit the number that someone could buy. You could limit the number that someone could buy. And it doesn't necessarily have to be to any specific business, especially if we created it, that was say for instance, that it was something that could be used at any one of this type of an establishment. We wouldn't have to necessarily have, FAM's gift cards or, Old World Nouveau gift cards. It could simply be a generic gift card that is to be used in one of these establishments. And,
Or divided up between eateries and,
right.
And then.
Right. Because you and I had talked about, how do we help them out? And it was like,
Yeah.
So that's why I was looking. And like I said, I looked at Grand Rapids, and Grand Rapids, of course, they put back in a huge amount of money. That's why, I only used the $25,000 because it was an easy example. It could be, it could be $10,000. And I'm kind of looking at it from the aspect of, no, I don't own a business downtown. All of you do. All right. But it just, like we'll use Mary Ann's all around for an example. She's been closed the entire time. She hasn't made anything. The restaurants have been able to, still go ahead and maintain some, some type of.
Mary Ann's doing curbside pickup. She just advertised.
Is she? Okay. It was just a thought.
Yeah, let's table it. Like Bill said, it's a good idea, but I don't know where we'd go with it right now. We just can't compete with the kind of monies that we'd have to do to make this worthwhile, and the number of businesses we'd have participating. It seems like it'd be tough.
You have a second?
To table
I was
it?
the second to Bill's, I think, or
Yeah, Parker made the motion to table this topic, and Randy, you second?
I think so. Sure.
Seidel was second. So can we do a roll?
Yep. Parker?
Yes.
Seidel?
Yes.
Poznanski?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Humphreys?
We might have lost her.
Brandt?
Yes.
She says she's still on. But-
Nolan?
Yes.
Humphreys?
Carol?
On? We have her back yet?
She's
Tar?
she's still on.
Yes.
Okay. Hayes?
Yes.
You want me to you have, your motion carries, so.
Mhm.
Humphreys?
Just make her an abstain and you're
I say
covered.
abstainer.
Yep, I just made her an
Oh,
abstain.
she just texted me yes.
Okay.
She said her phone died. She apologized.
How'd she text you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So
All right.
that'll be up in June. All right. Next, we have board member comments. Anybody?
Hey, we've got a couple of new businesses in town. Who are they? What are they?
Which ones? I know the one in the secret closet. That's the flooring store, I thought.
Is that right, Christine?
I'm sorry, say that again.
We have a couple of new businesses. What are they?
We've had a handful of inquiries for a couple of key locations, but as far as I know, no one's submitted any specific plans. I know that they're renovating where Baby Envision used to be.
Someone's renovating it, and they've taken the sign down, so obviously there's a business going in there.
Again, it was supposed to be, I had somebody came in looking for like a children's meeting place, if you will. They wanted to divvy up the space to like little playrooms and be able to hold
6
like
feet
for
apart
kids.
playrooms.
kids parties, right? We had a flooring company that came in, inquired about renting a space. As far as I'm aware, no one has submitted anything officially.
That flooring place is going to be in where the secret closet was. That's what they're doing. That's under renovation right now.
They're all permitted uses. Everybody that that has come to talk to us So they don't require a site plan approval for them to actually, start a lease with the landlord.
Okay.
So
Separate question. Has anybody else noticed the paint kind of chipping above the mural at all? Or is it,
I haven't looked.
I
okay.
have not.
I noticed it after you pointed it out the other day that I started
Okay.
to look and it is falling off. Yeah,
I didn't know if it was just my viewpoint, but you went and looked at it, Carl?
I did. As I drove into town, you can see it. It's above the mural about 2
Yeah,
feet
it's not
maybe.
the actual painting, but I'm nervous it would come down and I don't know who to contact.
I
Uh,
would contact
God.
Dave Pierce, right? Because he's the one that set up the fund to, care for it.
well, but that was, if it's not you said it's not the mural painting, it's the
No, it's above it, but I'm wondering, like, is it going to start coming down? Or,
Right, if moisture gets behind a crack in the paint, right? Is it going to
Right.
seep behind the rest of the paint?
Yeah.
Well,
Create more damage.
yeah, but you still got to get Salcedo back out there or somebody and have them look at it.
Look at it, yeah.
But Starkweather, who owns contacting the painters? Because that would be,
Well, again, they contracted out Salcedo to do that work, so I would just start with Starkweather
yeah.
and
I'll
contact Grace.
Yeah, I'll contact Grace tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yep,
Yeah, that's scary.
yep.
I'm glad you noticed that. I had not.
Kelly, welcome to the board.
Not a lot, it's just a few.
I look different than Tom, huh?
There's a lot of things about you that are different than Tom.
She wishes I was as pretty as that.
He's eavesdropping.
I
Be
know.
careful.
Well, he was walking around in buck naked for a minute.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
That-
All right, and on that note, I make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Quickly.
Who was that? Who seconded?
I'll second.
Randy.
I said quickly adjourn, so maybe I second it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, motion by Hayes, second by Seidel. Lisa, will you do a roll?
Yep. Hayes,
Yes.
Seidel,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Poznanski,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Humphreys. Humphreys,
Yes. She says yes.
Melzan,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Tar.
Yes.